Hi friends, my name is Nandita. I am from Andhra Pradesh.
Good morning dear students. Today we are going to discuss about control and coordination from chapter 7 class 10 CBSE syllabus. Children, now let us discuss about medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata, also known as medulla, is the lower part of the brainstem. The brain majorly can be classified into forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Already we discussed that this is the lower part of the brain, hindbrain. Further can be distinguished into cerebellum. Medulla oblongata and pons varolii. The word medulla oblongata has origin from the Latin word vers medis, means corresponds to middle, and oblongata corresponds to long. Hence the medulla is a long stem like structure, piriform, conic resembling. Medulla is found in the lowest region of the brain, chiefly regulating the atomic functions such as breathing, heartbeat, and digestion. It is critically important as it connects the spinal cord, pons, and the cerebral cortex. Additionally, it assists to maintain body posture and governs our reflexes. Its view of importance in controlling head and facial musculature, the medulla oblongata is regulated as the spinal cord of the head. Children, now let us discuss the parts of medulla oblongata. The medulla is found between the spinal cord and pons. Its vertical and dorsal surfaces of the medulla are distinguished by distinct fissures and turbines constituted by different nuclei and related tracts. The medulla is divided into two major parts: ventral medulla, the front portion, and dorsal medulla, rear portion, anterior portion, and it is also known as the tegmentum. Children, now let us discuss what is median fissures. Along the posterior and anterior proportions of the medulla, hollow grooves are found. These are the median fissures. Pyramids. The upper part of the medulla ventrally is deeply grooved into the midline along with a bold complexity on either side. These are pyramids. It is the result of containing corticospinal fibers. Some of these fibers overlap each other, hence obliterating the anterior median fissure, which is known as the dissection of the pyramids. The external accurate fibers originate from the anterior middle fissures above the dissection of the pyramids. Running lateral across the surface of the pons, they are two round masses of white matter situated on the facing sides of the anterior median fissure. Olivary bodies. In the upper part of the medulla, the area between the posterior-lateral and anterior-lateral sulcus is distinguished by a swelling, a pair of oval structures known as olivary bodies or olivos. It contains nerve fibers linking between cerebellum and pons with the medulla. The swelling is as a result of a large mass of grey matter, that inferior olivary nucleus. Fasciculus gracilis. The rear end of medulla between the posterior lateral sulcus and posterior median compresses tracts entering from the posterior funiculus of the spinal cord. These structures are fasciculus gracilis, situated intermediate to the midline and lateral to the fasciculus unguentatus. These structures typically are the continuation of the bundle of nerve fibers tracts extending from the spinal cord to the medulla. The terminal end of the fasciculi possess a round elevations referred to as the gracile and cuneate tuberculus. These are the result of nucleus unguentatus and nucleus gracilis overlying the tubercles. A triangular fossa occupies the posterior axis of the medulla, forming the floor of the fourth ventricle. This fossa on the either side is enclosed by the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Right laterally immediate of this fasciculus unguentatus is the tuberculum cinereum, which is at another longitudinal elevation caused as the result of spinal nucleus to the trigeminal nerve. Children, now let us discuss the structure of medulla oblongata. The medulla is a neuronal mass that's parts of the brainstem. It is located below the cerebellum and anterior to it. The medulla blends with the spinal cord near the foramen magnum. The medulla oblongata develops from the myelencephalon, and it is the most caudal brainstem structure situated in the posterior most part of the brainstem, merging within the spinal cord. Dimension: the medulla is 3 cm long and 2 cm wide with a thickness of 1.25 centimeters. It is home to all descending and ascending tracts carrying signals between the spinal cord and the brainstem. Its broad portion unite the overlying bones, hence the narrow sections continues with the spinal cord. The intersections between the spinal cord and the medulla occurs within the upper border of the first cervical vertebrae, which is also called atlas. In addition to this, other sections of the hindbrain, the medulla space out in the infratentorial space. Children, now let us discuss the functions of medulla oblongata. The medulla is critical in performing some important body functions pertaining to the regulation of mental, motor and sensory process. This is responsible to regulate the automatic functions of the body while it connects the higher levels of the brain to that of the spinal cord. Children, let us see what does the medulla oblongata do. Your medulla oblongata, often just called the medulla, is a key part of your nerve system. It's key not only because of its location but also because of its controls. Some of its jobs include managing heart, circulation and breathing. Your medulla is where your cardiovascular and respiratory systems link together into a united system that controls your heart rate, breathing, blood pressure and more. Manages other automatic process also. These are the things that your body often does, you having to think about them. Some examples including coughing, sneezing, swallowing, vomiting and maintaining your balance. Then nerve connections to the medulla oblongata. The vast majority of major nerves converge at your spine carrying signals to and from your brain. That means those signals must pass through your medulla. 4 of your 12 cranial nerves, which connects the area of your throats and tongue directly to your brain, passes through your medulla. Crossover point. Your medulla is the location of a region called the pyramids where most of the movement related nerves in your body crisscross. This crossover is why one side of your brain almost always controls parts on the opposite side of your body. Children, now let us discuss the medulla and the cranial nerves. Your cranial nerves, which comes in a pair and use Roman numerals to set them, that pass through the medulla include the following. Cranial nerve CN9. Your ninth cranial nerve handles many of the functions of your mouth, this including activating the glands that make saliva, split and your ability to taste and feeling things inside of your mouth. It is also controls your gag reflex, which keeps you from accidentally cocking on objects. Cranial nerve 10. Your 10th cranial nerve, known as vagus nerve, is one of the most important nerve in your body. It connects to all the major organs from your neck to the top part of your colon, transmitting signals for your automatic nerve system. These are signals you don't think about and they may manage your heart rate, interstitial movements and more. These nerves also carry signals from your muscles of your larynx, voice box and the muscles you use to swallow. Cranial nerve 11th. Your 11th cranial nerve controls muscles on your neck and upper back. These muscles help you turn your head or shrug your shoulders. Cranial nerves 12. Your 12th cranial nerves control the muscles that you use to stick out of your tongue, that makes this nerve vital for your ability to speak and swallow. Thank you. Children, now let us discuss the disorders that affect medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata includes strokes, brain tumors, and traumatic brain injuries. Other disorders like Parkinson's disorder, Alexander disorder, and Wallenberg syndrome. Causes are stroke, means when blood supply to the medulla oblongata is cut off, and the brain aneurysms, means it is a disorder caused by a block in a blood vessel of the brain, and brain tumor, it can damage a vital part of your brain, and traumatic brain injuries that can cause brain bleedings and seizures, and physical trauma can cause injury to the medulla oblongata. Genetic mutations in some cases like Alexander diseases, genetic mutations cause these disorders. Symptoms of these disorders are headache, hoarseness, inability to feel temperature or pain, jerky and uncontrolled eye movements, nausea and vomiting, paralysis, trouble swallowing, vision problems, etc. Children, let us discuss the other disorders of medulla oblongata. Dejerine syndrome. Dejerine syndrome, also known as medullary syndrome. This condition can cause weakness in arms and legs on the opposite side of your brain damage. Next one is bilateral medial medullary syndrome. This condition can cause respiratory failure and paralysis of all four limbs. Next one is Rinhold syndrome. Rinhold syndrome, also known as hemimedullary syndrome. This condition can cause paralysis. Alexander diseases, a rare neurodegenerative disorder that causes white matter degeneration and the information of Rosnath fibers. Children, now let us discuss the treatment for these disorders. Treatment for these disorders of medulla oblongata including surgery, radiation therapy, chemotherapy and other medications. The treatment plan depends on the type of location of the tumor, the patient's age and the other factors. Thank you.